Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the Soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
It's episode 74. I'm the Doom Guy, Peter W. Dawson.
And I'm James Exotic Bullock.
Yep. Oh boy, did we just give away what we're going to talk about?
We also forgot to mention we are Coffee and Kareem.
But which one's the coffee? Yeah, so we're going to talk about a few things today. We got a movie, we got a TV show, and we got a game.
Yes.
And I think it's safe to say, because I imagine anyone listening to this who actually was like, wonder what game they're going to talk about next, probably would guess Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, maybe Persona 5 Royal. Mm-hmm. Those are all in the queue, so
oh yeah.
We got plenty of games to cover through
we got a long time to cover all of those.
I mean, I've been casually playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake, but of course, not working at the moment, so I'm already almost done.
Right, yeah, I'm on chapter 14 now.
Yeah, I just hit 13 myself, so I'm not far behind, and I didn't play yesterday.
Right, and I know, the first day I didn't get hardly any time with it, and the weekend I made up for it, and then, early part of this week I didn't get much time with it. So I'm still have a really good pace and still not putting that much time.
Yeah. But, I guess we should dive right in, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about Doom Eternal, which is the sequel to the 2016 Doom. It was effectively a reboot, yeah?
Yeah, it was a reboot, yep.
Yeah. And, but they do address some of the lore in this game without giving too much away.
Right.
So it's interesting how they're trying to it's one of those, you thought it was a new continuity, but no! Which is a really popular thing ever since, I want to say since Star Trek did it in 2009, it's really become more of a popular thing to do.
Mm.
Because they did it where it's like, oh yeah, that previous universe exists, but we're now different.
Right.
So, it happens. Anyway, so yeah, Doom Eternal, like I said, follows up, and it's effectively hell on Earth.
Yes.
Because the demons have invaded Earth, coming through Mars. So you gotta go through Earth. You gotta go through Hell. You gotta revisit Mars and Phobos, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. Which I was actually surprised that Mars was so short. It was actually a pretty short chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't really played this. I did check out a couple things so I wasn't going in totally blind.
Mm-hmm.
But this has basically been your baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, yeah, because I liked the remake, but I just never had the high level enthusiasm to replay it, even though it's a good nostalgia trip for sure. And even just for modern players, it's still a very effective shooter in that throwback style.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a problem with it. It's I've never been I think
it didn't give you an itch oh man, I want to replay this and do it harder difficulties and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's just because I like more intense narratives now.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to favor the RPGs, the action games, and whatnot. So, a classic minimal plot but effective plot. I'm not going to say it's a bad plot shooter. It just didn't really grab it for me.
Hey, I think I'm in that same mode, but this is one of the few times I kind of wanted something a little bit more low key. I just wanted to go in, shoot some things, and do a chapter in a half an hour and be done.
Yeah.
It's crazy because that was during a time where everything was a little bit more open and we're trying to rush to get stuff done, just in case. But now it's a lot of people, including us, got a little bit more free time than we did before the game came out. So having that kind of game that you can just play for a little bit and put down and go to something else was a lot more just applicable for the time.
Mm-hmm. That's about right. So pretty much all the weapons from the last Doom game returned.
Yeah, including the Super Shoddy.
Oh yeah, the Super Shoddy has to come back.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice balance between the combat shotgun and the Super Shotgun.
Yeah, and then it comes with this one. It has the fire hook, which is a grappling hook.
Yeah.
So you can pull yourself toward enemies and then shoot them up close, which I love.
Oh, here it says it's the meat hook.
Yeah. Oh, the meat hook. There you go. That's right.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the things. Like, there's
reason
more melee weapons.
The
Yeah.
reason I call it the fire hook is because, like I said, it is the meat hook. But once you upgrade it fully, it actually sets the enemies on fire when you use it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing. Like, if you played Classic Doom and you haven't really played much since, like, they do have weapon mods and upgrades in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have seen how quickly you can customize that stuff. It's pretty like the game. If there's anything I can praise it for besides just being a competent shooter, it's how fluid it is.
Oh my goodness, yes, and that's one of the best things I enjoyed about it because the game actually puts a lot of systems in place when it comes to just the enemies alone. So, like, a lot of the enemies are susceptible to various weapons. And depending on what you have in your inventory, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like, a few enemies show up a little bit too early compared to, like, your inventory, so you might not have the weapon that you need to beat it. But a majority of them pretty much show up around the same time that you want them to in correlation with your inventory. And you have to really think on your feet because, like, they're throwing all these different enemies at you, and you have to realize, okay, this weapon's good for this weapon's good for this, let me use this right here, let me use this right here. Like, it's a serpentine enemy called the Whiplash. It's really fast, hits really hard. And the best way to stop it is by throwing an ice grenade. So you can throw an ice grenade, quickly change to the super shotty, and pretty much one-hit kill it if you prepare for it.
Right, and like ice grenades, because you got like a launcher or something on your armor, right?
Right, you got the flamethrower on your armor. That actually, once you set your enemies on fire, they actually drop bits of armor, which I thoroughly enjoy. So
you burn them and it makes their armor fall off.
Right, it makes armor fall off, so you can use that. And then of course,
if you use chainsaw kills, they drop more ammo.
Yeah, you use a chainsaw, which refills as you play. You don't have to like look for gas canisters or anything, but they do actually have gas canisters around some of the arenas. So you can immediately refill, and if you chop them up, of course, they give you a plethora of ammo. And I know that was one of like the big things, the big talking points when the game first came out, was how little there is when it comes to ammo. Well, really there isn't, because when you chainsaw an enemy, it usually almost fills up all of your ammunition. Like, it does not take much.
No, so it's like, you got 5 guys, you like shotgun 2, switch to something else, blast the other 2, and then charge the last one. I heard there's some new movement stuff, but is it like just dashing, or is there like actual like wall running or something?
No, you have a double dash. You have a double dash. Okay. You can grip onto certain walls, but most of that is like for platforming.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can dash now, so if you really want to get in close quick to chainsaw, you can do that.
Right, and even with the double dash, it's once again that's one of those things you have to recharge. But the recharge is so fast that you rarely realize that you've actually used them both, and it's not already ready for you to use again.
Okay. So yeah, no, it sounds like it's pretty well balanced.
No, I will wholeheartedly say that it is very well balanced, especially once you learn like the enemy variations, learn the weak points and everything else. It's really a very intuitive game. Like you said, it's very fluid in terms of as long as you understand what's going on, then you can put 2 and 2 together and just figure it out. You just got to stick and move. One of the first things, like you were saying about the weapon mods, you can actually add very early, like the first mod that you can get, you can add to either the shotgun, like the regular shotgun, because instead of the pistol, like in 2016, your base weapon is a regular combat shotgun. So you can actually turn it into a full auto shotgun, or like I did, have sticky grenades. So at the very beginning of the game, like the first big arena fight that you can have sticky grenades already ready for you. And being able just to go around and do all of that kind of stuff, just trying to figure out what works, what does well for you. The game actually offers a lot when it comes to enemy variations. And that's one thing I also got to note too. The game does a great job into not only explaining the lore a little bit more, but also when it comes to the enemies, they actually have lore with the enemies, and once you defeat them once, they tell you all of their weaknesses and their advantages. So all you got to do is go to the codex, and you can read it up, and you'll know exactly what to do.
You've defeated me. Let me tell you all of my weaknesses.
Let me tell you all my secrets now.
My secrets will be revealed, and you will become the one destined for greatness. I know what voice I'm doing there, but that's the voice I do whenever I have Hitman and the Hitman games grab a dude
Oh,
and like kind of casually choke him out. But like what I usually do is, for some reason, I don't know why, this is a thing I've done with Hitman, but like he'll grab a guy, start choking him out, and I'll be like, "Let me tell you the story of my people." Like it's just some weird alien just trying to transfer his consciousness to a guy
and
he's
like the
choking
person that's dying at that moment in time is like so totally confused. He doesn't understand why he's being killed, let alone why this person's talking to him like this.
I have so many questions. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, that's some insight into the weird stuff I get up to.
It's like, this is what happens when you start thinking a little bit too much.
When you got free time, you got free time.
Yeah, you got free time, man. The mind wanders.
Oh boy. I don't know how much. Oh, actually, let me ask you this, because you've been in the campaign, yeah?
Yeah.
How long did that take?
It took about 15 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, no, it was actually a really good campaign. It didn't feel like it was too long. The only thing that I felt that was lacking when it came to the overall campaign presentation was the bosses. Like, there's only 3 legitimate bosses in the game. And they present a couple of enemies, including the Marauder, which I know you've heard about, and everyone's complained about so much. And I completely agree. Like, the first time you fight the Marauder, it is one of the most humbling experiences you'll have, because you just realize nothing I have learned applies to this enemy. He teleports, he has a shield that just comes out of nowhere that you cannot get rid of. He can throw projectiles, he can send just astronomical dogs at you. Like, he just is ridiculous. But after a couple of rounds with him, you pretty much learn his patterns, and it's very simple to beat him. But like, the first couple of times is ridiculous. Outside of that, you have a couple of other enemies that essentially become regular enemies. They're first presented as bosses, and then the next time you see them, they're just pretty much stock enemies. Like, one is the Doom Hunter, which is like this floating, like, just monster on wheels, literally. Mm-hmm. And he shows up about a third of the way through the game, and they present him as a boss. And then pretty much a lot of the big arena battles after that, he's just a regular enemy. So there's only like 3 legitimate bosses in the game. And the first one is pretty much like a dumbed down version of the Marauder. And the other 2 are just grandiose beasts. That one is a little bit cheap and another one is not as difficult, which is the final boss, mind you. Is not really that difficult. Like, the worst part about the final boss is the fact that he summons a whole bunch of different monsters at the same time. And it's a very small area that you're fighting in, so sometimes it's really hard to see what's going on. Like, that's really the only problems when it comes to the bosses. But, yeah, solid campaign. The only other thing I know we haven't talked about is the multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh, really?
No, I don't like it at all. It's, honestly, I blame myself more than I blame the actual mode itself. It's just one of those things, like, I just can't get into. It's a PvP 2-on-1 situation where 2 players play as demons and 1 player plays as the Doomslayer or the Doom guy. And since there's no matchmaking, even though they have levels and a leveling system in the game, more than likely, like, every game is a blowout. Like, it's very rare to have a tight game in that, because either you're going to take on a Doom guy that is so good that he just wipes the floor with anybody, or you face 2 monsters that are really good and they wipe the floor with the Doom guy. Like, it's never a tight game anytime. So, like, this is one of those things. Like, it's a solid mode, but it's nothing that, especially compared to the single player campaign, it's nothing that warrants to be played again.
Yeah. It's but yeah, I guess if nothing else, the campaign then, eh?
Yeah, no. Like I said, really fun, great gameplay. Like I said, I love the expansion on the lore, and mainly for me is just the excitement of learning and advancing and figuring out what you can do. The platform is okay; it's a little rough around the edges sometimes, but beyond that, when it comes to just the genuine combat, and the joy of just chainsawing demons. Like, Doom Eternal is absolutely perfect when it comes to that. When it's just hectic action, I love the game. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of those sleeper hits for me. I was excited about it to a certain extent. Like you said, I liked 2016, but it wasn't like I was, oh man, I'm so excited for Doom Eternal. After this, I'm like, okay, I'm really happy, and I am looking forward to whatever the sequel is.
Mm-hmm. Because they can't be done yet.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably Bethesda's best series right now.
Yeah, really. I mean, that is the one that really gets no flack.
Yep.
There's minor things here and there when it comes to it, but like for a general critical reception, and it's one of the few, like you said, has no real big woes right now compared to other games, like certain other Fallout games they're trying to patch itself and make it into an actual Fallout game this week.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Somebody listed a bunch of PS4 games on the local auction site the other day, and I was like, so how much are you going to pay me to take Fallout 76 off you? Thankfully, he found it funny.
Okay.
He wasn't actually going to do that, of course.
Right.
I think he was only asking like $5 for that one, though.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like, when you said it, like, the first number that popped in my head was 5. Literally.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was like $5. Like,
well, a couple of games he was selling for just $1.
Wow.
Yeah, but like the ones he was selling for that were like ones that came out in like 2015. So
right, almost launch titles.
Yeah. Like, get a copy of Knack.
Oh, exactly. That's what.
That was going for $1. I'm like, yeah, it's fair.
I
don't know if there's much else to say about this, though.
No. Really, really fun game. I think that if you like 2016, you will really enjoy this. You just have to adapt a little bit. There are some fundamental changes to the gameplay, but if you're a first-person shooter fan, too, you'll really enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Yep.
Okay. So shall we dive into, speaking of Doom...
And speaking of ripping and tearing...
Yeah, geez. Let's talk about Tiger King.
Everyone ignores the freaking slogan when it comes to this. The after the statement that comes, pretty much the subtitle. Yeah. Everyone ignores the subtitle.
Murder, mayhem, and madness.
No, everything's so much fun. It's big cats and an eccentric guy named Joe Exotic.
Yep.
No, it's about a murder.
Yeah. Oh boy, so much stuff.
I know. Now, okay, I got one question, Peter. Did this come onto your radar for the same reason that it came onto my radar?
Oh yeah. People started talking about it randomly because they were talking about, because this came out March 20th.
Right.
Which, for me in particular, was the day I was like, okay, I'm probably going to be stuck inside my apartment for the next week. Like, that was the day for me, I think. I'm gonna double check my calendar real quick as I talk, but pretty sure that was the day.
Oh man!
Like, I went into work that morning and I was told by the end of it, yeah, odds are almost everyone's gonna get laid off temporarily. You know, like, it was temporary layoffs. It's not fired. It was not, but they can't really furlough us.
Exactly.
So it was like, okay. And then it was, I get home and I'm watching the late night variety shows, and then like I watched the few that are still airing the next day, and it's like, everyone's now at home watching Tiger King. I'm like, what the heck is Tiger King? And then I look, I'm like, oh, it's some weird documentary. I won't bother.
Yeah,
and then we kind of...
No, for me it was like, okay, I don't get, why is this showing up on wrestling websites?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing that got me. I was like, what does this show have to do with wrestling? It was like, oh, this guy that's a part of this show named Tiger King used to have wrestling shows once in a while there. And part of the Viking Raiders, like, they wrestle there during those shows.
You know, it's weird. There's so much weird stuff going on. Oh my god. So, just to be clear, we're talking Tiger King effectively revolves around the life of the man known as Joe Exotic.
Yes.
Did he legally change his name to that? I can't remember.
I don't think so, because I think when he ran for governor, like, they would say, or even when he ran for president, quote unquote, that I think he used his real name, and then he was like, AKA Joe Exotic.
Yeah, his legal name is Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage. Or Passage. I don't know how that's pronounced.
You
It's just a
kept
stage name.
That's just exotic.
No wonder he just changed it to exotic.
I know.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and like, just a lot of insane stuff because he's a guy who runs like this sort of private zoo / I don't even know what else to call it.
Yeah, at first it was like he presented almost as a sanctuary, but it's not.
Yeah, and then you've got Carol Baskin, who he considers her a rival.
Yes.
Although she's more of a conservationist.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do, like in the show, do debate that, but no, she is a conservationist. How good she is at it is one of the things that I think will come up a lot.
It's definitely up for debate.
Yeah. And, especially thanks to stuff she does, she contacts PETA, the people, I can't even, you know what, I'm not even going to say it because I don't agree with that name with them.
Treatment of animals.
Yeah, F those people. Dude, I've had problems with local chapters. I don't even want to get into the national
stuff. Goodness, man.
And international stuff. Like, good lord.
Just so
worst.
warped, man. It's just crazy.
So, it's really hard to see some... I'm going to stop because this is going to come off too much like political viewpoints.
Right.
But I just have no patience.
Right.
You know what? I'm more neutral to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, so there's that whole thing. And then, Joe Exotic even accuses Baskin of murdering her husband.
Yes, and feeding him to the cats that she's rescued.
Yeah. Which, considering one of the things I've been reading more and more lately over the last few months, like I started it as a kind of an idle curiosity, and then when I had more time on my hands, I really dived into it. I've been reading a lot about Willie Pickton, one of Canada's most notorious serial killers, also known as Robert Pickton.
Yeah.
Willie was his random nickname. I guess his middle name was William.
Right.
So he went by Willie. It's implied he fed people to hogs.
Wow.
And even worse, potentially used human meat mixed in with their pork. And then you might be wondering, what sick reason did he have for doing this? It's been discussed more and more that Pickton in particular would buy like the worst cows, the worst pigs, chop them up and sell them as low-grade meat.
Wow.
So literally it might have been a way to just save money.
Right.
Because he had a dead body. He needed to figure out what to do with the meat.
He needed to fill an order.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, I've got this extra meat. It's just sitting here. It's not being used. Might as well just mix it in with the pork. Get ourselves a few extra bucks, eh?
Wow.
That was my terrible Canadian accent. I know it's a bit of a non sequitur to bring that up, but I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to emphasize, don't put anything past people. Because especially if you read everything that happened with that particular case, which honestly, I'm not saying we could host a serial podcast or anything like that, but after all the stuff I've been reading about him, I could probably make it happen.
You've definitely become educated on the subject.
Good lord. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's like I'm just weirding myself out now.
And speaking of weird things, let's talk about when Joe Exotic ran for president as well as governor.
Yes. Yeah, and one of his marketing techniques was handing out condoms with his face on it.
Yeah. Well, then he also, how did they describe it? Because he was basically in a three-way relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So first they reveal that because we were introduced to his, I guess, at the time, his first husband. I don't know if he's ever been married before that, and who's this, like, just weird looking, backwards hillbilly looking dude with no teeth. He's definitely done copious amounts of meth.
Yeah.
And he admits to it too. It's not even an estimation or a guess. Like, he admits.
No. That's the amazing thing. Everyone just casually admits everything they've done. Especially the people that work for Joe.
They are so down to earth. Like, they have nothing to hide. It is the craziest thing. And his first husband, he's revealed, and you just naturally think, okay, Joe Exotic's a gay guy. He kind of convinced this other guy who's proclaimed to be straight until this moment, until he met Joe,
Yep.
and hooks up with him, and eventually they get married. And then they introduce another guy that was like 19, I think, when he got there.
Yeah, John Finlay.
Yeah, and next thing you know, he gets married. So we have a triangle wedding, a trio that is going on here. They actually show the wedding happen.
Yeah.
It is the strangest thing because
Well, like, sorry, I was just gonna point out, yeah, because the guy with no T, Travis Maldonado, that's one of the last names.
Right.
So go on.
No, I was saying it was just the strangest thing because it's one of those things that you expect to see in a movie that is just either in this backwoods area that has no connection to normal society, or just something that's just almost unbelievable to believe. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they are just as happy, even though, which is the funniest thing, because we had this like big twist, and I'm not going to reveal that because that was absolutely insane to me watching how that played out with one of the husbands. But just the fact that Joe says that his biggest fault is that he fell in love with straight men.
Yeah. And no, that was his biggest problem. There wouldn't be a documentary, and it wouldn't be this amazing. Because it's kind of the thing, like it's epitome trash TV. You know, like we always say, oh yeah, we moved on from the '90s and like
I was thinking
Jerry
like,
Springer and whatever.
This
is peak trash TV.
Yes, like if this happened during freaking Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, Flavor of Love, like this would have been a vanguard of that style of television.
Yeah, no, the special after show extra episode they did with Joe McHale would have been hosted by Tila Tequila. That got you, really?
Yes. Because it's so true.
Yeah.
Oh man,
man,
that would be a mess, and it would be so great.
Yeah, no, so the whole thing just gets insane.
Yeah.
Like,
there are so many unexpected twists to me. Like, I think that's what is the most interesting aspect about it, is because during the first episode, you kind of feel like it's a very straightforward narrative you're about to witness. Like, Joe hates Carol, and he feels that Carol's doing everything in her power to shut him down and stop his way of life. And he's going to do everything in his power to stop her, and it eventually leads to him trying to get her killed. But the route that it takes is so absolutely absurd. Like, I think that's why people are so enamored with it. Maybe it's just me. Or they just like the fact that this weird guy is hanging around with a bunch of tigers and ligers. Could be a little bit of both.
I do love the ligers.
I know.
One of those things, like, for a long time people thought they were fictional. It's like, no, they're real.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and so we should probably bring up one of those sympathetic characters in the whole thing, just as a shout-out. Saf.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And even poor Saf gets misgendered, right?
Yes! I was so confused at first why they were presenting Saf in the way that they were.
Yeah. And, like, that's kind of the thing. Like, Saf's ultimately a very likable person.
One of the most. And I feel so sorry because that moment when, and we can reveal this one because that's very obvious, that the arm loss. And it was like, I have to go back to work because we're trying to make sure that the image of the park isn't damaged.
Yeah.
My goodness, come on. The loyalty is absurd. Like, I do not understand.
Yeah. So, ultimately, like I said, like, Joe Exotic is not portrayed well with good reasons since he's in jail. Batson's not portrayed exactly well. And some debate over whether it was entirely fair. But, honestly, even if you got rid of the more judgy parts of it, still not a great person.
Exactly.
still not a great person. Even if we get rid of the murder accusation and the obvious stuff, like, it's like, well, why doesn't she just release the cats? I mean, I understand why, because one of the places I advocate for quite often is the Vancouver Aquarium, who can't just release their whales and such.
Right.
So, my favorite part is people are like, you should educate yourself on this and tell them to release them. I'm like, dude, I've had conversations with these people.
Like, the only education they have is from watching this show.
I know. It's one of those things, right? Like, this is kind of why I hate these types of shows, because it gets super popular, and then people use it as their only source of information.
Right. Then they become an expert.
Yeah, like Robert Picton, he had a book he wrote about himself, which then got pulled by the Canadian government because they didn't want to murder or to profit off his own work.
Right.
And I've seen excerpts of the book, and it's a nightmare to read. But you can't say I didn't look at another source. Right. By the way, did you know that one of Canada's most notorious serial killers loved jelly donuts, Lay's potato chips, and chocolate milk? Because he describes having a snack consisting of that like 4 different times in one chapter.
Good times. What
else am I going to bring this up? I mean, honestly, because it's like, I kind of don't want to spoil this, even though it's a doc.
Right. But I mean, everyone kind of knows like the end result, especially since one, like you said, has become so popular. And two, because almost like every news channel right now is like doing some kind of new little piece on it. Either Good Morning America or just like Entertainment Tonight. Like, everyone's doing something on it. So there's not that much we can spoil about the outcome. But it's like there's little things here and there in the middle portion of the story that aren't really talked about when it comes to the overall narrative that I don't want to spoil, because it is so insane to watch. Like, a lot of the aspects, a lot of the twists, you would not expect.
I think I'd watched 34 million times within the first 10 days.
Wow.
Like, it's one of Netflix's most successful launches ever. I mean, like, that's better than Stranger Things, I believe.
Wow, I can believe it. Like, it's one of those things that just hit at the perfect time.
Yeah, I know. It just happens. It's real good. At least in terms of viewership. I don't know. Like, look, ultimately, if you want to get the pop culture assimilation, you could do worse.
Oh yeah, very much so. But just please do not try to make this guy a hero. Like, no. I see this too much right now. Like, oh, I want to dress like him. Oh, he's innocent. Oh, no, he's not a good person.
No, no question. He's not a good person.
No, he's not. The best thing about him is the cats, and even then.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Netflix.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of starved for movies lately.
Yeah.
So we saw there was a new Ed Helms comedy with Taraji P. Henson coming out, and the name was Coffee Kareem.
Yeah, with Taraji barely getting any screen time.
We'll get to that. So the movie is about James Coffee, a police officer who is trying to get his girlfriend's son to accept him.
Yes.
The son being named Kareem.
Yes.
Thus the name Coffee and Kareem. Because it's one of those movies where it seems like they came up with the premise before they tried to figure out how to make it a 90-plus minute movie. Like, you know what this made me think of?
What?
Of all things? Hear no evil, see no evil.
Wow.
Because I thought about that. I'm like, that's a movie where the whole thing isn't great, but they clearly had some good ideas for sketches.
Right.
And
they had
so
the
they were just like,
they had the skeleton.
Like it's one of those movies. It's like, I don't know if they should have made it a whole movie. And like in this case, it's like, yeah, this didn't need to be a whole movie.
No.
Especially because as a result, the comedy just goes all over the place.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where the comedy actually starts off to me pretty strong, but then after like around that 30 to 45 minute mark, like, oh my goodness, we've been here so many times before.
Yeah, it also reminds me of Stuber in that respect.
Which, ironically enough.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, ironically enough. Yeah, the same person.
Yep.
Same responsible director here. Stuber.
Yep. Again, this guy just is like, Oh yeah, I got 90 minutes to kill. Let's make a movie out of this.
And it is
The premise
still,
only lasts maybe 20 minutes.
right, and it's still between 1997 and 2003.
Yep.
Like the thing I walked away from when it came to this movie was if this came out during the late 90s, early 2000s, so many people would be quoting it.
Yep. And David Allen Greer would still be in it.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
He would just be looking younger. Like, that would be the only difference.
Yeah, no, they put prosthetics on him so he looks like the older dude from Jumanji, right?
Yes.
Because didn't he play the older and younger self in that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh,
I keep on bringing it up,
so
but
true.
have you watched Amazon Women on the Moon yet?
No, I haven't. No, I have to get to it. I know.
Yeah, you got to watch him play Don Simmons because that's just hilarious. I can't even explain that sketch unless you see him.
Yeah.
So I've always loved David Allen Greer.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. He is such a great, just actor, comedian, everything. I love him. So underrated.
Yeah, but he shows up in some bad stuff.
I know. It's the saddest part because like he's we talked about talents before who deserve so much more. He deserves so much more. He deserves so much better.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like, because like, what was he in? He was in Tiptoes.
Yes.
Which, I mean, so many good actors are in that movie, and it's like, what the hell happened? What? When? As you can tell, I'm trying to at least not talk about.
I was about to say that we did not feel that way when it came to this movie.
No, it's like Ed Helms is stuck in a rut.
Yeah, no, he's definitely himself when it comes to this. Like, he just happens to be a cop in this movie.
Yeah, it's like Ed Helms is like, here, put on a mustache, and you're a cop now. He's like, okay, I will persevere.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of the episode of The Office where Andy comes back. It's like, call me Drew. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Which honestly was kind of rude.
Yeah, really.
Which is funny when you think about that character's arc through that show. But anyway, yeah. So like, it's weird because the whole thing is like, it's a kid-friendly and then very much not kid-friendly movie.
Right, like I said, this was perfect for the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, one of those movies that it looks from the onset, a very family-oriented movie. You know, cop comes into, a potential father figure comes into the life of a underprivileged youth who's a little bit out of control, and they get in trouble, and then they find each other as potential friends and even more. No, it's just filled with a bunch of just rhetoric and dialogue that is just full of raunch for the pure sake of being raunchy. Like, there's one thing that
it's funny because it's saying something filthy.
Right. Like, there's one scene that's pretty early in the movie where Kareem has to do a poem in front of the class, and it just involves him saying sexual things about his teacher. And she just sits there. It's like, oh no, Kareem, you need to go. Like, he's supposed to be that bad boy that everyone knows has a heart of gold, but he really doesn't.
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny when kids hit on older women.
Right.
You know what that makes me think of? Blank Check. I'm just naming bad movies now. That's not fair. Stuber was okay.
No, Stuber was solid.
Stuber was better than this.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, no. Like, if something else, like, the dynamic was better and it felt a little more modern.
Like, for me, overall, like, the best scene in this whole movie from a comedic perspective happened so early in the movie when Kareem meets up with the person that he's supposed to have paid off. I don't want to spoil that part.
Oh yeah, no, don't spoil that scene. That scene's amazing.
That is the best scene of the entire movie, and it happens in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that makes this movie really that watchable.
Right, exactly. Because it was such a great scene. It hit such a high point. I was like, oh man, this is what I'm looking forward to. And no, my expectations went up way too high from that scene alone.
Try to count how many scenes Taraji's actually in now.
Yeah,
she's probably in 6, and most of them are at the very end.
She's in the beginning, And then she has a part where of course, everything goes awry, and she has to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Then there's another part in the hotel. Then there's another part in the hotel, and then, like you said, pretty much the closing sequences. So, like, if a 90-minute movie, she's probably in it about, at the most, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say 15.
Yeah. 20 might be generous.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I imagine she was busy when they were filming this, but still.
Yeah, and I understand, like, hey, name value, but she could have been played by almost anyone else.
Like, I know, it's like...
They really need her for this role.
No, it's not even like they needed someone who had good chemistry with the kid or Helms, because it's such a nothing role. Like, you could have made this, any film where it's like, oh yeah, and here's the love interest who is, some no-name actor who's maybe gonna get a big break like 2 or 3 years later.
Right.
Like it's like a pre-fame, let's say Rachel McAdams, or well, not Rachel McAdams because she's white, but
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying. No, it's like just one of those things that they didn't have to break the bank because they probably put a lot of money just to have her a part of the movie for this role. And the same thing with Betty Gilpin. Like, I thought she was fantastic in what she did, but
what's the Funkadactyl Cameron doing these days? She would have worked.
Pinning someone on their back as they lay on their bellies.
Yeah. There's a wrestling reference for you. Sorry, you were saying about Betty Gilpin?
Yeah, like, I thought she was fantastic in what she did, but she was once again one of those people that, like, for just a name recognition point, it's like feels like the only reason why she had this role. Like, she did not need to be this.
No, she had a Netflix contract, and they're like, all right, we'll use you.
Right.
Yeah. So, not much else to say.
but Betty Gilpin is definitely a treat to watch.
Yeah.
High on coke Betty Gilpin was actually a treat to watch.
Oh, wow. Apparently, David Alan Grier is going to be the voice of Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Wow.
Breaking news.
I'm telling you, man, he's just all over.
Weird.
It's just a weird association.
Just played a desk sergeant in 1985. What the heck?
Oh, man.
I'm just looking at his filmography now.
Yeah. but the one thing I will say, and we haven't talked about it, was Kareem, the actor, Terrence Gardenhigh, I think his name is. Like, he was good. Like, he didn't have much to work with outside of you just had to be raunchy and filthy and say whatever came to mind. But, like, from a comedic timing aspect, I thought he was actually very good, especially for someone as young as he is.
Well, I know, like, that can be the hard thing, because, like, if a kid doesn't have good comedic timing, and you're basing a movie around them, you're in trouble. Like, the material wasn't the best, but, like, he had good delivery.
Like, him and Ed worked well, just, like I said, just what they had to work with. Wasn't that much. It wasn't anything we hadn't seen before. Like I say, if this was 1997 through 2003, this kid would be everywhere. He would be on posters, T-shirts everywhere. Like, they would be quoting him. He would be a huge star by now off of this.
Yeah, it said it's a Netflix thing, and his only other thing of note is a Disney show?
Yeah, I think
Who makes Henry Danger?
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
It's not going to be a good jumping off point.
Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
Oof. Nickelodeon sitcom. Oof. No way the timing on that is great.
Yeah, he's definitely going a different direction on this.
Yeah.
No, but it's getting low ratings.
Don't share this to your kids who are fans of that show.
Oh my goodness, no. Oh, he's going to be in this. No, do not let him see this. Let the child see this at all.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good stuff, though. But, I can completely agree with it. I see a lot of low ratings and reviews, and I understand exactly why.
Yep.
There was one excellent scene throughout a 90-minute movie. And it's something that I would never watch again.
Yeah, but again, we're kind of starved for content right now.
Right.
Like, the discussion we're going to have once this episode ends is going to be interesting.
I got a couple of things. I think we can at least fill out at least half an hour.
All right.
And
Well,
then we just,
I'm shocked how long we've gone on this, honestly.
I know.
And it's not a full hour. I mean, I think we're at like 45 minutes.
Oh, we hit the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So
As long as it's under an hour, I'm happy.
yeah, same here, man. Like, as long as Skype wants to cooperate with us.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess we will wrap it up then.
All right.
Thank you for being here again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Doom Guy himself.
Rip and tear. Rip and tear. Yeah, so we'll probably do Resident Evil 3 next week.
Yes, I was thinking. Yeah, next time Resident Evil.
Yeah, because we're probably gonna have to do that, and then we'll do the Final Fantasy VII remake. Because I'll definitely be done by then. I'll probably be done within the week, right?
Yeah.
So.
The only thing I want to test out is possibly hard mode. Like I want to kind of test that out. I don't know.
I want to play with the chapter select as well.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get all the trophies at least right away.
Yeah, this is gonna maybe take me a little time, a little bit more than I expected, because I was working on the pull-ups trophy last night.
Yeah.
That might be a monster for a lot of people.
I heard it was harder than the squats. The squats weren't too bad.
No, squats weren't bad. They probably took me maybe like 15 minutes or so. I just had to get in the rhythm a couple of times, but no, they switch it up on the pull-ups.
And the dance battle one I nailed the first time.
Which one? Oh, dance. Same here. Yeah, I was actually like kind of a little bit worried about when I saw it, because I had like Flash of Yakuza all over again.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and then like when I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, this is actually harder than I thought it was going to be.
Right, exactly.
And I still did really well.
I think I got like 2 bads on it, and the rest were great. I think maybe like 1 good for the dance, and I was like, hey, this is great for me. But like I said, the only problem with like the dance one, and I know we're completely talking about something.
But we might as well now.
I know. The only thing I hated with the dance was like some of the angles, like they would put like the button prompts behind characters, so you could barely see them until like the last second.
Oh, that was evil.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but that is nothing. Like I said, that and the squats, nothing compared to the pull-ups. Like, it is ridiculous. It is really ridiculous.
That'll be an interesting one to check out then.
Yeah.
But on that tantalizing note, we will leave you for now. Till the next time, folks, just stay healthy, keep it clean, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And don't take your 12-year-old stepson to a strip joint.
Why?
Well, maybe they might think you're a pedophile. I don't know.
By taking him to a strip...